Hi everybody, my name's Tim Snell and I'm a Soma Breath instructor. Today I'm here to talk to you about correcting your breathing. I don't know about you, but nobody sat me down and said, hey, did you know you're doing this thing wrong? But I wish they had, because I didn't know until I became a breathwork instructor that I was breathing incorrectly in my day-to-day life, and it was having an impact on my health, because I can see the difference between how I was breathing then and my health and how I'm breathing now and the changes in my health. The fact is that there is a right and a wrong way to breathe. And this was known about by our indigenous societies and our cultures because they trained their children to breathe correctly. And sadly, that knowledge has been largely lost. But today I'd like to share with you a very simple technique so that you can work out whether you are breathing correctly. Some other techniques to help you change that. So if you find that you aren't breathing in the correct way, it's very simple to change. So I'm going to talk to you about that as well. I'd like to also talk to you about the link between our breath and the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems, which you may have heard about before if you've ever read anything to do with stress and anxiety, because there's a lot of discussion about those two systems when we come to talk about stress and how stress impacts our life. So let's start off with the correct breathing. There's a couple of things that we should really take note of. And the first one is to breathe as much as possible through the nose. We were given a nose not just to smell, but to efficiently exchange air in and out of our lungs. You see, when we breathe in through the nose, we're warming the air as it goes through all the passages down into the lungs, and it helps to exchange the air more efficiently because we're preparing the air to be received by the body. The other thing that happens when we breathe in through the nose is that we add nitric oxide through our sinuses. And so this extra gas also helps in that exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide when we breathe in. So it's really important to, as much as possible, breathe in through the nose. As I said earlier, the indigenous societies knew this. So nursing mothers would actively just close the mouth of a baby if they saw it was breathing through the mouth, so that nose breathing became an automatic process. And that's because those societies had learned, whether through trial and error or some sort of wisdom that they had, that breathing through the mouth was a cause of big health issues. Now, how do I find out if I'm breathing correctly if I am already breathing through my nose? All right, so all you need to do is take your left hand and place it on your belly, and your right hand and you place it on your chest. And I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose. Gosh, feels so good. So which of your hands raised first? If it was your left hand, congratulations, you are breathing correctly. But if it was your right hand and your chest rose before your belly, then I'm sorry, you are not breathing in the correct way. And so what makes this right or wrong? Well, this is where I want to talk to you a little bit about the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. These two branches are responsible for two very different states in our being, so the way that we navigate. And the first one, the sympathetic nervous system, is most often, as I mentioned earlier, linked to stress and anxiety. But actually, the sympathetic nervous system is activated on every inhalation. And the receptors or sensors for the sympathetic nervous system are in the chest. So if we're only breathing into our chest, we're probably over breathing because we're taking smaller breaths and more breaths to get the same amount of oxygen into our blood. And we will take more breaths than what we would if we were taking a full breath all the way in, down into our belly, like a full diaphragmatic breath. So if you do that for yourself, if you just go into the chest, you can feel it's a short breath. Whereas if I do a full breath down into my belly, a full diaphragmatic breath, it's going to be actually feels better. The other thing to notice is if you work in an office environment, you're probably hunched over in one way or another because you're at a keyboard, you may not even be aware of it. And by this hunching over, you're already constricting the amount of air that you can take in. So small postural changes, just pushing your shoulders back, will actually help you to open up the capacity of your lungs and allow you to take more air down into your body. So that's really important. And the sympathetic nervous system, as I said, it activates the fight or flight response. And you see this when people are having a panic attack, or they're anxious, or they're nervous, or something else is going on that has put them into that fight or flight, response. And so they'll be panting and they'll be breathing quite shallowly. And if you said to them, "Where are you breathing right now?" they'll say, "I'm breathing into my chest." And so the way to counteract that is to breathe all the way down into the belly and to elongate the exhalation, because the exhalation is what activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So breathe in, sympathetic, breathe out, parasympathetic. And if you breathe in an equal rhythm, then you will be keeping those in balance. But if you wanted to feel more rested and relaxed, then you would activate the parasympathetic nervous system by elongating your exhalation. It's that simple. It really is. So what that might look like in practice is you would breathe in maybe for the count of 2 and breathe out for the count of 4. So try that. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. That simple act of breathing with a slightly longer exhalation will help you calm down and relax. If you'd like to be super relaxed, you could double the length. So it might be breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 8. However, if you'd like to just be in a neutral, balanced state where you're more open, aware, and present, then you would balance the inhalation with the exhalation. And that would probably be more of a 4-4 count. So you breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 4. So that's what I wanted to share with you today about breathing correctly. I think it's one of those things that you become aware of over time. You'll notice it if you're wearing a mask right now due to coronavirus. You will know instantly whether you are breathing in or out through your mouth. And so this is, using the mask situation right now is a really great way to become super conscious of your breathing and to make sure that you are using nose breathing to filter the air, to warm the air, to improve the efficient exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, and to fundamentally make you a healthier person. As always, if you have any questions about breathing correctly or anything I've talked about in this video, please don't hesitate to contact me. I love connecting with new people, and I love answering people's questions and helping them to use the power of breath work to improve your health.